This is the lamp tutorial, one of the lamp tutorials on Fusion 360. This is not a basic tutorial. At this point, we're going to assume that you have a 3D model of the tutorial. I'm going to show the basic 3D model of the tutorial, but we're going to add in elements to get like a wood finish and a mirror and these LED lights so we can get this sort of infinity mirror effect. All right, let me close this. We're going to start. Before I close this, I'll show you what this design looked like. Oh, not animation. I'll show you what this design looked like before we got it to the render, and so we know we can get to a situation similar to this. So this is what our drawing is. In this view, in the design view, notice there's no reflective materials here. The light's also not emissive, but we put these elements on, we put the material elements onto this design. So when we did it in our render, it came out and looked nice in 3D and had reflective light. So we'll start with something, I'll close this. We'll start with something new. For this design, I did a circle for my previous one, but this one I will, let's do a polygon. Let's do a, just for fun, let's do a hexagon. Yes. We'll do a, again, my size really doesn't matter, but let's say I do this 50 centimeters. That's my hexagon over there. That's the length I'm going to try to follow. Then I'm going to sketch again. I'm going to make the profile that I want my design to follow. And this profile is going to be like the side view of my wooden barriers on the outside. So they're going to have their little lip for the mirror as well. So I'm just going to draw. Do you remember how thick the piece of timber was in Sir's one? It's like 5 centimeters, right? Let's just assume 5 centimeters. That's pretty big, actually. Let's try 3 centimeters. So let's say we have a 3 centimeter piece of wood here. It goes flat. This is going to be the piece of timber that, this is the side view of our piece of timber. And then in our design, we had pieces of plywood raised up on the sides so we could get the rails. So I'm going to draw that plywood here. The plywood is 3 millimeters. 1, 2, 3. The back mirror is 2 millimeters thick. So I'll make a groove there. So this line over here, if I measure this, inspect this line, that should be our 2 millimeters. That's going to be for our mirror. And then we're going to do the same thing at the front, except our front mirror is going to be 3 millimeters thick for the ply. This line over here is the distance between these two lines. I can check over here. We see it is 3 millimeters thick. And when we're doing fusion, when we have our object, we need to make it solid blue. So we have to connect these lines together. Connect. Right. So does this shape look familiar? This is like the piece of the border. It's going to look something like this, right, with our piece of timber. We can finish with that sketch now. The reason why I did it this way is we have this. We're going to use a tool. This is because I have like a pentagon shape. If you just have a square shape, we can get our extrude tool and we can just click these surfaces. And we can just extrude this out and it'll make that shape, right? That's if we have a square or rectangle, that's fairly easy. But I want to see if I can get it to follow this particular pentagon shape, hexagon shape that I had here. So we're going to use the sweep tool. And what the sweep tool does is we can get this profile, and I want this profile to follow the pentagon lines we have there. So I've selected these 4. We see here it's dark blue, this whole profile. And then the path, I'm going to pick this pentagon shape that I have over here. So if I click this, it now follows the shape. And so that's our entire border is done. It even does all the curves. It's going to look a lot better than yours in real life because you're going to cut yours and you're going to have weird joints, but it makes our life a lot easier, especially for in our drawing can be our idealized design. And I can press OK. And so we have that drawing. Next thing we're going to have to do is we are going to have to make the mirror, and we're going to have to make the reflective material. So I'm going to go to sketch. When I sketch this, what I want to do is I want to click this surface inside here because I made that a little bit of a channel with a bit of depth there. I want to click inside here, and now we see we have there should be like these lines forming here, that's our inside border of where we want our mirror to be. We can sketch this out if we want. We can get our line and we can follow it. But we have this line here, so we may as well already use it. So what we're going to do, we want to already use it. I'm going to use the project and include tool. We're going to say project, project. And what I want to do is I want to click this object that exists already, which is that one. No, I want to press this option over here to include a body. And I want to click this body, which is the one that we just made. And then if I press OK, now, if I do it in 3D here, we see how we have these purple lines. They're forming, so we can use those in our drawing now. Which means I think I can I can finish this sketch. I can press extrude. I can click that surface and I can actually start making that wall, but I also want to press this inside area in there. So now I'm going to make the mirror. The mirror is 2 millimeters thick. And if I press enter here, it's going to be a problem. If I press enter here, it's going to make this all into one body. So the wood and the mirror are all going to be one body, which the problem is I can only make it one material. I don't want that. I want a wood and mirror. So before I finish it, when you make a new material, think I don't want to join. I want to make a new body. So I press new body and I press enter. And so now I should have two bodies here. So I can hide it. So you have here, this is the wood. And then if I hide the walls, that's just the mirror. And to make it easier for us, I'm going to actually double click this body one. And we can label this as frame wood. And then we can name this back mirror. Right? I'm going to do the same step for the front part. We're going to go sketch. We're going to try to sketch this inside layer here. We're going to create, project and include, project the 3D body, click the body and press OK. And so now we can go to extrude, that face and this surface. The piece of acrylic is 3 millimeters thick, so I'm going to press 3. And again, it will automatically join. Fusion will try to join. If the extrusion is already attached to an object, it will just try to join it together automatically. So we have to be vigilant and always do a new body if we want it to be a new body. And so we should expect there to be 3 bodies now in our design. 1, 2, 3, done. And we can rename this one front semi-mirror. Front semi-mirror. Cool. So let's go and we can start labeling some of these objects. Changing the appearance here. We want to right click this wooden frame. We're going to go to appearance. We have our appearance here. Now, if we type wood in this search engine, we have a bunch of wood. There's 2 types of woods I've found in Fusion 360. First one is 3D. And what 3D does is it tries to simulate the object that if it was cut out of a piece of wood. When you're looking at the balsa wood cars you did 2 years ago, the wood that you have on the side or the end grain looks different than the longer parts of the wood. Like the grains are nice and long, on that piece of wood, but at the ends they're very dotish. That's what the 3D will try to make it to match a piece of timber. This other one over here, these ones that are represented by cubes here, they're going to be uniform. So it's all going to be the same shape or color. I like to use this one. I like to pick this particular, a 3D one, if you have it. You drag it up here, then you drag it to make sure it's just selected this material, and there you go. It's like this was made out of one piece of material. So yeah, there's this, what is called end grain looking stuff. And then down here, it's going to have the 2D pieces of material. Cool. And then we can do our mirrors. Mirror. We can do a mirror over here. We can do chrome or mirror. Let's just do mirror. If we rotate to this back part, we can put this mirror over here. And now this is a mirror. And for this front one, I haven't found a semi-mirror, but the closest thing I found was, if we type glass, which one did I get? I think I got glass, a medium color. If you haven't put in any of these, before you put these into your first design, you're going to have to download them. So you see this icon over here to the right. It says download. So when I drag it here, I like to drag it and it should be downloading it. You might have like a little icon saying to download it. Then once you have, you can just drag it onto that part there and you have that part in your design. This in theory can go and it will make our mirror. The next thing we have to do is we have to make some sort of LED lights in this design. So what we are going to do is, what's the best way to do this? Because we have a hexagon. We will hide our two mirrors for now. And we know our LED lights are going to be here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go sketch. We'll sketch on this panel. Now the making of the lights are probably going to be the same. You can measure the actual length of the size of the LED lights. We don't worry about the strip. We just want to worry about the lights themselves. And from memory, I think the lights are like 4x4, I think. Maybe, or 3x3. Doesn't actually matter what they are, but we'll do 4x4. That's the light. And we can even use a rectangular pattern tool. We can click this shape that we had over here. No, sorry. We'll just finish this. We'll finish this. We'll get that rectangle we had there, and we want to make it as high as the LED lights are. So they're probably 2 millimeters high, I'm assuming. 2 millimeters high. That might be too much. Let's say 1 millimeters high. And again, this is going to join. I don't want to join this. I want to make this a new object. So I'm going to make a new body. It's an LED light. We should have a new body here. I'm going to get this body. And this is from this part onwards, it's going to drastically change depending on your design. So what I want to do here is I have this light. I want to copy this light 4 times. I'm going to have 4 lights on that bottom rail. And then I'm going to get those 4 lights and I'm going to copy that radially around my hexagon. Depending on your design, you're going to change how you do that copying of that pattern. If you're doing a circle, you just get the first light and you just copy it around radially. If you're doing a weird shape, you're going to have to copy it along the path and it might look a bit janky, right? But you'll have to take some time and try to do that. If you're doing a rectangular one, it's going to be, this part is going to be the same. You're going to do a rectangular pattern. You're going to select this, what do we do here? We're going to go create, pattern, rectangular pattern. It should load up here. We have a body. We're going to select this object. The axis, I'm going to copy this. Pick somewhere, which direction you want it to go. I want it to go down here. And I'm going to click and drag them. That's where I want my lights to be. How many do I want? Let's say I want 4 lights. So it's going to make them. This will not join. This will make new bodies. And I press OK. Cool. These are my bodies here. Notice these are all going to be new bodies. There's no real way around this. Every LED light is going to be its own body. Then for my case now, which you're not going to be able to do this. If you have your square, you're going to have to then start sketching on the left side and do the square with the left side. But for my case, I can do a circular pattern. Circular pattern. I can select these bodies. I can select them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can. The axis is going to be a bit. No, I don't think the axis is difficult actually. Because I rotated around the center. Wonderful. So I'm kind of lucked out because I did a perfect hexagon, and I started my hexagon on the center axis. I can use that center axis to revolve it. See how I have 3 here, but if I upgrade it to 4, they're not going to be aligned, right? If I upgrade it to 4, they're not going to be aligned with my object. Same if I do 5 and 6. But if I pick the same amount that I did on my hexagon, wonderful, I have all my lights here. I press OK. Cool. Now I want to click here. And if I press Shift and I click it, I can select all those objects. I can then right-click, Appearance. To make the lights, emissive is the word I need. I just emiss. So these are all different light sources. Let's just pick this particular light over here. There's LED lights. This 8 lumens, 20 lumens, 50 lumens, that's all about the brightness. Now, how bright it works, I don't know. We're making up numbers really, and it depends on the size of your LED light. You can change it. You can redo your render if you want to pick a light that's less brightness. Change it from the 8 to the 20 to the 50. You can even right-click and you can even edit it to change this luminance value over here to a different number. But before you do that, I highly recommend you duplicate it first to make a copy so you don't ruin the original one. So this one over here, you can edit it, and this is where you can even change the color of your light if you would like, if you're doing an RGB light. So I have these, and I believe I can I still select this many lights? Okay. And then I can click this and drag it, and now all these lights, they should all be emissive, I think. See how they're all white now? Cool, that's my design. I unhide everything, so this is ready to be sent. I will save this. Version 3. You have to save it first. Then we will go to rendering. So we have the drawing here. Once we're in render and it's saved and it's loaded, we press this render button. This is where if you have a student account, it's going to be fine. If you don't, it's going to be difficult because you only have a certain amount of tokens you can use if you do not have a student account. So I'm going to render this object here. It by default will use the resolution on your computer. This Windows PC happens to have 3000 by 2000, so it's a lot of pixels. So I like to change this instead to like an image quality and change it to a size that's more reasonable, 1600 by 120. Cloud render means that they're going to be rendering it for me on their server computers. And you see how it takes credits. It's going to take 2 credits for me to do this, but I have unlimited credits because it's a student account. You should also have unlimited credits on your student account. And then when I press render, the cloud rendering should start, and it's going to have this little icon over here. This means it's uploading it or sending it to the render farm. If you come back within 10 minutes, you can even close Fusion at this point, and their servers will continue rendering it. Once they render it, we should have an image that looks somewhat like once we render it, you should have this little icon over here, and it might show a thumbnail. But this one, then you can open it, and then you can have a look at that render. If you want to zoom in or change the angle, you have to do that before. You have to do a new render every time you change anything. So again, lucky you have unlimited renders. It just will take time for you to get the image. And this one's loading it up from their server. And when we render, we have things like it does the reflectivity, it does the lights are coming out, it does the wood at a better resolution, but also shows the light coming out of the mirror. And I think these lights are way too powerful than for the examples of the lights that we're doing, so that's why I tried to lower it in the example in the class. One last thing before I pause the tutorial so you can work on it. Notice how here the walls on this design, do you see how these look like they're different pieces of timber compared to this design over here, which all looks like it's one? That's because we did this as one single piece of timber in our design. In the first design I had here, this is multiple sheets of timber. So when we're doing our 3D timber effect, try to make the timber look as similar to the timber that you're using. So if you're doing 4 frames, you might want to cut those up using the split body tool to actually have them as 4 individual pieces of timber. So then it'll try to do the when it makes it 3D, it'll try to make them each an individual piece of timber. Okay, I will pause the tutorial now and I will unpause it. I'll unpause it when we have the drawing ready. All right, so once you've finished your design here, now it says it takes approximately 10 minutes. The approximations is fine, but I always like to add an extra 10 minutes when it comes to my calculations because it's still got to compress the file, upload it, they've got to render it, and then they've got to compress it and send it back to you and you've got to open it. So this one was 17 minutes, it was done. When I go and open it, we will look at this drawing and it should open. Are we recording? Yes. Loading up the image. The bigger your image is, the more it will take to load up. So there's my mirror. If we zoom into this by making it larger, you don't really have a lot of commands here to view this image, but you can download this image using this tool and open up in a Paint or how you're going to put it into your folio. Now, clearly the infinityness is happening here. We see these little lights going off into the distance. If I was to do this, I'm going to render it again, but I'm going to like half the luminosity of my lights until I get one that gives the right effect that I want. You can also do stuff, I might do another example where I'll put like a template in front or put like a flower inside it. I might do a bee because it is a hexagon, it looks like a bee thing. And we'll do that and we'll see how that light goes. But you change this. When you're putting this in your reports, you can download this file if it looks very nice, but if it's just in your report, you can also just do your screen capture and pick this particular object. Things you can do in the rendering, you can also change your scene. You can change your scene over here by changing the environment. One of them is you can do it. You can make it like in a grassy fields or inside a city, but that's not really super relevant. Let's just worry about getting the light reflecting on your mirror. But that's it for this tutorial. I'll save and I'll upload it.